You know the vibe. All spice, no sugar. Let's get into it.
Alrighty, welcome back to another episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. This time I am accompanied by someone very special and very iconic and basically fits the archetype of the women that I want to bring into this podcast, the women who are doing big shit. So I'm so excited to bring this beautiful soul onto the potty and just talk about all things business, all things faith and spirituality, and even just like the industry, how she's seen it evolve over the last few years and what she's learned from it in her journey. So bringing into this space was a beautiful soul who is the CEO and founder of the Tiana Rose Group and powerhouse of multiple, not just one, but multiple, seven-figure businesses. She scaled her coaching, listen to this. She scaled her coaching business to $1 million cash in 5 months of launching. What the hell? When I wrote this down, I was like, I don't think I've ever heard someone do that. It is insane. She's co-created the world's first personalized children's book, built a brick and mortar retail and manufacturing business that's now currently expanding into an international franchise?
No.
National franchise. All right. She's like,
international's on the cards. Just
on the cards. Through her signature methods, she teaches women how to command rooms with executive presence and strength and grow profitable businesses to lead and thrive in every area of their life without losing who they are. Her work is deeply rooted in biblical truth, focused on leading women powerfully towards their God-given calling. I'm so excited to welcome to the podcast Tiana Baxter, or if I like to know her by Instagram, Tiana Rose, the Tiana Rose.
Hello, beautiful lady. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on here. I'm so excited to journey your mind, even just writing your, like I was saying before, writing down your intro. I was like, I have so many questions. I want to know so many things. Like, you have done so much in your time and in your career, and I'm just so excited to journey into that. And first of all, I just want to ask you, how long have you been in the business space? And have you always been in business, or were you doing something else prior to that?
So I have been in the Tiana Rose Group now for 4.5 years.
Cool.
Backtrack. I've been with my husband for 10 years next month.
Beautiful.
And so we built businesses together. So I've always, for the last 10 years, I've been in business, but I also, prior to launching the Tiana Rose Group, I was in corporate. So I've head of retail for a very large retail business, Australasian retail business. So my role was always sales, leadership, coaching, but it wasn't one-on-one. It was 3,000 team members.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So you've come from like knowing how to move a room of thousands of people and hold a team of large scale. So it just makes obvious sense that when you came into the coaching industry, you were already primed to be able to hold.
It's interesting because even when Tiana Rose Group made $1 million in 5 months full time. So I'd started the business on the side when I was still at my previous role, 1 day a week. It was when it was COVID. And so I used to travel. I used to have to go interstate every other week. Yeah. So I was grounded basically. So I started the business just 1 day a week on a Friday back in the July, and it just started to build and build and build. In the December 16th, I went full time. From going full time through to May 31st, which was actually my birthday, we hit $1 million, which was a big deal because it was my birthday.
Yeah. What a great fucking birthday present.
I know, right? But the context is, I didn't just start from being brand new and never have run business. I know business. I've run businesses for 5 years prior to that. I've come from a business where everything was P&L based, which has been an interesting eye-opener in, I think, the coaching industry for me, how much people aren't looking at P&Ls and business strategy in that way.
Yeah.
And so it was always about making profit. It was about making people better and profit better. Yeah. And so when I stepped in, it wasn't like I was this brand new person, but what I will say was Instagram, social media, showing up, that was brand new.
Yes.
I look back at some stories and it's when they were the 15 seconds.
Yes.
And I would put 20 up.
God, that was
There would be 20 in a day of my little stories chatting away to people.
Wow. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that stories used to only be like.
Do you remember when they cut out?
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, they still cut out now. People just learn to talk a lot more.
Yes.
Even me, I'm like, I need to Talk faster, Candace. Hurry up. Get to the point. People aren't listening to your fifth post. No. Oh, seriously.
Look, my thoughts are we can always, I run a program called the Voice of Influence for that reason. However, I do believe if people are genuinely invested in you, they will listen to your fifth post.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. This is true. So it's interesting that you mentioned like P&L and you came a lot into like business and sounds to me that you were a lot in the systems and the back end and the analytics side of things. Was that like your niche? Did you have it? Did you have a niche when you came in? And what was like your target audience?
And this is going to surprise you. I started it as a human design business coach. And this is the thing, timing in business, when you launch anything, whether it's product, coaching, whatever it is, it's timing. Timing plays such a big role as to what you're bringing forward outside of your personal brand. So if you're solving a problem, it's the timing that you bring that problem, right? I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see the light bulb just landed. Yeah. Outside of you selling your personal brand, that's what it is. And I hit the human design market right when it was just taking off. So people were, what is this that she's talking about? Explain this to me. There was just so much curiosity around it. And I realized I was just doing one-on-one calls. So you could just book a one-on-one call. And I instantly started leaning it towards their businesses. I couldn't not because I could see the gaps.
Yeah.
When I started doing that, I realized, here's a niche. Because people are teaching human design, but not human design in your business.
Yeah.
But very quickly after, pretty much once I went full time. So from December onwards, it was no longer about human design. That was a sort of a tool, but it was business coaching. So I launched my first mastermind on December 16th, which was my last day in that career, and it was called Empire.
Yeah.
And that was my first business mastermind.
Yeah. Wow. And can I ask, what was the investment for the mastermind?
16,000.
Okay, cool. For how long?
No, that one was 9 months.
Okay.
Because the whole thing was that I was thinking it takes 9 months to birth a baby. I want to do this right. It's the first time I'm holding close proximity of, there was 15 women in it. It's the first time I'm doing that. I want to do this right.
Right. So your first container was 16K.
Yeah.
Container.
Yeah. I could speak into this all day long.
It's so great. Well, I really like this though, because I feel that was also a big piece into why I've been able to scale quickly myself, is because when I first started in the space, my first container, well, not my very first container, but when I had rebirthed the company as Candy the creator, and actually started like really stepping into the ownership and the leadership of it as a company, my container was a 12K, like 12,000 container. Yeah. And I started with that, right? And I've done 3 one-on-ones, like proper one-on-ones in my entire business life, because I focused on just group coaching and scale. I was like, how can I increase my monthly recurring revenue as fast as possible? Yeah.
It's funny, I did the opposite.
Yeah, and most people do.
Yeah, so I did. So firstly, I launched that mastermind. I launched another one while that one was still running. So I launched Empire 2.0 because more people wanted Empire. Yeah. The results were just so incredible in that space. How do I get in? So then I just thought, well, I'll launch another one. So then I had another one straight away. Yep. Then I had close proximity clients, because a lot of even the people in the mastermind also wanted one-on-one coaching. Yeah. You know, and I understand that. Sometimes there's conversations you want to have offline. But the other thing that I had as well was corporate coaching. Because I have a corporate background, the role that I did was quite sought after. Like very solid. And so straight away, as soon as I was out of the non-compete, I could go in to do that as well. So in a different role.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. So you've been in corporate, you've had a coaching business, you've also have a product-based business like with your children's book, and you've also got brick and mortar business. What has been, in your experience, the hardest to build and scale?
When you say hard in terms of profit and challenges, or hard as in emotional challenges? Because there's a difference. So because I'd come from business, there was no, in product, it's personal if it's your personal product, I understand that. But it doesn't feel as personal until you have a personal brand. And that, you know, one thing that sort of did shock me was the level of leadership when I first came over into this industry. Whilst I have seen it grow now, because I came from corporate, there is a certain level that you must operate at. Yeah. And I'd been in it my whole life. So it's all I knew. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I noticed myself, like everything felt so personal, because it's your knowledge that's coming online. It's your brand. It's you. It's not a company, it's not a product, it's not a thing. And it was actually my husband, Josh, who you've met. And we had the product-based business. We have a flooring company at the time. And he would, like, we designed all the flooring, we designed the, like, we do all of it. And he'd get a little bit, like, things would hurt a little bit if someone didn't like color or something, but he'd be over it in 2 seconds. And he's like, it's so interesting watching how a personal brand is so personal.
Yes.
So
It's in the name.
yeah, correct, right? So I would say that there's so many different complexities.
So many layers.
Because with COVID in the product-based business, getting containers into the country, that was a challenge. So we have, we never have a demand problem. We incredible marketers. So we have a lot of people begging us for the product, which is a good problem to have until you have no product. So that's a challenge because it's out of your hands. So then you have to think quick on what else you can do. So there's just different challenges in both. But then in the personal business, there's the emotional revenue in it. You know, you're dealing with people in such a personal level.
Yeah. And I feel I would say personally, the emotional part of the business is the most challenging because, like, with everything else, like, you can just learn to, like, almost detach from it and be like, move on. But when it comes to the personal pieces and the emotional connection that you have to your own personal brand, like, you've built it. It's based on the business is based on you as a person.
Yes.
And naturally, it's hard not to take effect to the judgment people place on the business because it's a reflection of you rather than the product or a service. It's like a reflection as you as a person. Yeah. So I can feel resonance with that in the sense of emotionally.
It's funny though, because then on the flip side, the emotional revenue is also the best part.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like it's a double whammy. And
it is.
You know, one of the things I've really noticed, and I don't know if you felt this, but see, I wouldn't say anymore that I'm in the coaching industry. The way I've been able to build my business now, I make sure that I cross over many industries now with what I do. I would say the biggest thing with personal brands, not even personal brands, let's say coaching industry, so coaching brands, is so many people make their identity the brand. And so I think what we're going to start to notice, if we haven't already, and I noticed this for me 2 years ago, and it's when I started to pare back a little bit on the way that I was showing up, is in life we're going to pivot. We're going to go through things. I was teaching human design. Now I stand on the Lord. They're two very different things and they're contradictory to each other. Yeah. Right? So if everything was based on my results and what I was calling in because of my identity as part of the business, you can imagine why people feel so torn because they can't pivot. It's actually not a smart business move. Yeah. And so I think we're going to start to see a lot of coaches, especially from that 2022 era, which was the heyday era. It was a wild era. It was also deeply unregulated. I think we're going to start to notice people saying, oh, wow, like I've just realized that my whole identity has been this brand.
Well, I don't know about that because I think the whole reason around building a personal brand is it's based on you as a person, and your ability to pivot is what's actually going to make you successful in business. And that's what I believe to be true is, and I think the reason why so many people get stuck or hit invisible ceiling is because they've attached themselves to who they were when they first entered the business, and they can't detach themselves in order to pivot because they've built success off that identity.
Yes,
and
correct.
rather than being like, okay, I can pivot and move forward, and people, if you've done a personal brand right, people will move with you regardless of what you're
if you've shown all sides of you. And they're 100% right. And this is why one of the things I used to always teach on is build your business in the evolution of you.
Yes.
However, don't attach that current identity to the business.
Yeah.
This is the difference. So instead, it's everything that you build is from your personality. That's what a personal brand is, personality. Yeah. But not where, I want to pivot now. Those results might change a little bit. They may not. They may go each way initially. I now feel lower worth and everyone starts to spiral because they've attached who they were,
their self-worth to the identity,
to that identity. But we pivot as humans. Yes. And I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah, is learning to not attach who you were in that moment to the result.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that because I know that if I was still doing business the way that I did when I first started, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be sitting here. Yep. And I was so like, if I need to pivot, I will. Yeah. And I'm okay with that, and I'm not afraid to like move against something because I know that if I'm being pulled toward a certain direction and I know that's for my evolution, that's the way I'm going to go, because I'm so focused on more so the movement than the identity. I know that I have to be consistently molding my identity to match who I'm becoming and the movement that I'm creating. And I think that's the most important thing now that I feel is coming more into awareness when it comes to personal branding, is it's not about the identity, it's about the movement you're creating because of your personal brand. And if you can really lean into that, then that's when it becomes inevitable, your scalability.
Yes. And that's why, you know, when I brought my faith online after, you know, for years of speaking about something the opposite, everyone's like, did you lose followers? I'm like, maybe a couple, but not where I noticed my Instagram followers go down, because people, I've showed them the evolution. I built it in the evolution of me the whole time.
Yes.
And I've been really transparent about that.
Yes.
And I think that's the key, but I haven't attached what they think or my identity to that.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like when you bring people along with the journey, they're coming along with the journey.
Yeah.
Even if they're like,
I don't like it.
Even if they're like, I don't agree with that, but okay, I like her. So it's so interesting. And I want to go into that pivot for you with when you went from human design, because you definitely did shock me. I was not expecting you to say that.
Because it was so long ago.
Yeah, I didn't know that part of your journey, which is really cool to know that now about you. And then your pivot into faith. And I'm curious to know like what that journey was like for you. And was it like, what was that experience like for you, even like coming into faith and coming into your belief with God? And then was that a difficult journey for you to pivot in your business?
No, I think because like, as I was saying, people can come on the journey with me if they want to or they don't want to. I never attached their opinions to my business result. So whether they liked it or not. So it wasn't difficult because it's what I believe. It's my faith. And I, if anything, held off for so long on sharing it, not even for opinion, more so because I think at the time it started to become a bit of a trend. Yeah. And so I was like,
I don't want to be part of the trend.
No, well, this is so real for us, you know, and I'm like, I can't be part of something that just feels a little bit murky at the moment. I also won't talk about anything unless I'm deeply integrated in it.
Yes.
You know, and I was going through a journey. It's a really personal journey. It's a deep journey. And so I had already finished talking about human design years before it. So I didn't speak to any of that for years. So it wasn't this, you know, a lot of people go from new age practices and then it's like this flip. So it feels quite shocking. Jarring. You know, jarring, that's the word. I didn't do that, you know, to the point where when I came on, everyone was like, just assumed that you were always a Christian. Like it was just kind of like, no one was shocked.
Okay. You're like,
because I already lived by the values, I guess. So no, it wasn't. But bringing it online was just part of the evolution, you know, and just sharing it. And I actually felt like it got to a point where I'd be doing teachings. And if I'm not sharing this, I felt like I had the best kept secret and I wasn't being transparent about my results and how I got them because God is such a big part of them. And so it got to this point where I'm like, I have to share it because I'm now holding back a part that could change someone's life.
Wow. I love that. I think that's so, and I can feel you're so embodied in that. And you're so like, that's so deeply rooted in who you are now and also how you lead as well. So what was the journey like with coming into faith?
Yeah, so almost 10 years ago when I met Josh, we were going to church. So we were going to a Christian church. Now I had not long before that, so I've been married before, split up from my ex-husband. And it was a few months later, once, you know, that's all, he's my best friend. So we all get along. It was all very mutual. It's a great relationship. I started taking Josh to the church, and I think at the time I would say we probably lent more into the religious side of it. No, we didn't lean into that. That's now I can reflect back, that's what it felt like. And it felt like there were too many rules and we weren't following the rules. It's not the truth. It's just we didn't have the spiritual maturity to know that it's not about the religious side. It's about our personal relationship with God. And we weren't there with it. And because we had just started dating, we went for quite a few months and it was a big part of our relationship. But over time, there was just some of the congregation at the time that were just making comments and stuff. And it just started to feel a little bit suffocating. So Josh was like, you know what, let's just step away for a little bit. And so we stepped away and never thought anything of it. I still believed in God, just I guess I would say, wasn't disciplined,
Yes.
you know, in it. And then it was almost 2 years ago now, out of nowhere, Josh walks in one day into the room and goes, just so you know, we're going to church on Sunday. It was like whiplash. What? Why? Like, I was excited because I never moved away from God. And he's like, because we are. And it's interesting because the spiritual head of the household is the man. And the man should lead that conversation. And the way the Holy Spirit works is because we didn't have any friends that were going to church. It's not like we were hanging around people that it was an influence. There was no influencer online that he was following. Like, there was nothing. And I just believe when God knocks, you can't ignore it. And we started to see so many miracles. Like, if we had an hour, I'd share one story with you, but it goes for a while. But it was a miracle. Like, there's no other word other than but God. People that were standing there that watched this miracle that did not believe in God, even they were like, only God could have done that.
Wow.
Yeah. And so there was just so many signs, and we were like, it's time to go back, and we've never left. Can I say something? I feel like the very first time I ever saw you, before I knew you, I don't even know if you were in the coaching industry yet, was in a church, and it was in Glow at Rabina.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Because you're so beautiful. So you're memorable.
Thank you.
And I actually remember I turned around, and I'm sure you were sitting with my friend Hayley.
Yeah, I would have been.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure because we've never had the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the church that we go to.
Yeah. So I went through a period last year where I was connecting with God.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So and I went to church. I went to Glow Church for a few months.
Yes.
Yeah. And I kind of really I don't know. I do know why I stopped going. That's so funny.
We don't have to go into it.
Yeah, no, it's just like
we can talk about that offline.
No, it's so fine because it's just all part of the podcast, you know, share it. Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
And I actually met this guy. And this is actually a funny story, so I'm going to share. So I started, I had a lot of synchronicities relating to God, and my roommate at the time, like we were just chatting, and I was talking about my connections with God and all of the synchronicities that were happening. And I was like, I feel like I need to go to church.
Yeah.
And she's like, same. So we were like in our own worlds, just going through a bit of an evolution. And her mum's best friend is Hayley. So that's how I knew Hayley.
There we go. Yes.
Yeah. So she was like, oh, my friend, my mum's friend, like goes to Glow Church. She said we should go with her. I was like, cool, because that was the church that I was getting shown to go to. Like, and literally it was just like coming through because I, like everything, even like with my spirituality as well, everything that I received messages through was like through people or through visions or through just, you know, coincidence and synchronicities. And that's what I kept getting shown. And I was like, okay, perfect. So we went there a few times, and I met this guy. I had like same thing, synchronicities, like kept running into this guy. We started chatting. I met up with him, and he was very much like with faith and very much like very strong in his beliefs. Yes. And then there was just a moment where it was like getting a little bit intense sexually with this guy, and I was like, hang on a minute, like like you're very strong with your discipline, but what's your belief around sex before marriage? I was like, and I was getting to a point where I was feeling quite uncomfortable with this man, and that kind of just like shook me a little bit, and I just felt very uncomfortable in that situation, removed myself from that situation, and I was just like, he was very strong in his beliefs, and with me coming into the space, I was very open because naturally my spirituality is more new age, and I very much connect to like spirit guides and all of the more new age practices and everything like that. And I felt as if it was like almost being shoved down my throat, the biblical beliefs. And I was like, I feel uncomfortable. Like this is almost too much, and it pushed me further away. So then I stepped away, and then funnily enough was then literally within a month I had met Alex, and then we connected, and then that's when that all happened. And I just think it's so interesting because obviously it's gone from like, I'm seeing this, talking to this guy, met this guy from church, and then within a few months I was dating a woman, and I was like, full pendulum swing in that moment. But was a very interesting journey for me. And then I've connected to, I guess like God frequency, but I haven't had any calling to go back into the space.
I think what you're
yeah,
describing
that's
is
a journey.
similar to when we first went.
Mm,
And because we didn't have a personal relationship with God,
mm,
that if anything was said now, so if anyone brought something to me, because the Holy Spirit will convict you when it's time for you to be convicted. It's like when you felt called to go, that
Yeah.
was, you were called to go.
yeah.
And, there's so many things that people, if you're a Christian, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And yes, there are technical, if you're obedient, which only means to listen, that people just think obedient because they know the way that we've made the word mean these days, then you want to do the right thing for the Lord. However, I believe we get convicted in our right time. So if there's certain things, okay, here's a good one. Here's a really good example. My husband swears. Right? Technically, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So it's something that I've been actively working on because I don't want to be speaking death over anyone.
Yeah.
And he still swears. He is, though, a very godly man. And so I said to him, when are you going to be convicted of that? I'm not going to tell you not to do it. And I said, just pray on it and wait until you're convicted.
Yeah.
Because his relationship with God, he will get to a point where we can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Because every time he does it, you get, that contraction.
Yeah.
So I just believe it's such a personal journey. Whilst, yes, anything, we have to have standards, and if we want to really get to know the Lord, then there's a Bible. His word is there.
Yeah.
There's a book that tells you how to live your life. You follow it. But I truly believe I'm not one. It's something that, a friend had said to me, and she said, I love that when you brought your faith online, you didn't come out and then make everything that wasn't your faith wrong.
Yeah.
And she said she'd had a lot of experiences where I think someone had even called her demonic or something along those lines. And the way I look at it is if we really go back, Jesus hung out with prostitutes, tax collectors. He didn't bash them over the head with a Bible or tell them they're wrong. He loved them into them just knowing that they're convicted that he's a man that loves us regardless of who we are. Then they changed, then they shifted. And I'm like, it's not my role to do that. It's my role to be a light and be the example and be the change I wish to see in the world. And if that helps people, then it does. But it's not my role to convict you of something that only God can convict you of.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because I've seen people from the spiritual community shifting over into Christianity and just doing exactly what you've just mentioned in the sense of like kind of like hitting on spirituality or talking about New Age spirituality, that it's wrong. And I've also experienced, seen particular people also demonizing New Age spirituality practices as well. And I'm curious to know, like, what's your experience or what's your perspective around, for example, like channeling or light language and the New Age practices that are coming more present online. How do you perceive that in your belief?
I don't perceive it. Yeah. Interesting, because I did, right?
Yeah.
But when I say that, the reason I don't make one wrong to make the other right is people are seeking. So whether you're seeking God, spirituality of any type, any New Age practice, any religion, it's people are seeking to feel fulfilled, to feel peace, whatever it is, people are seeking. So even when I see new people really deep in New Age, all I can see is someone that is seeking. For me, and I don't know a lot about those practices, so I can't speak to them specifically, but if I looked at just other spirituality outside of my spirituality, Christianity, I would say that it gets to a point where, for me, when I logically look at it, I try not to logically go too far, but when I logically look at it, truth will find you. And I needed something that was the same from the past, the same in the now, and is going to be the same in the future. And that is God's word. It does not change. So I have so much peace in that. It's not changing based on the teacher teaching it, someone's preference, someone's personality. It's not changing. And the thing for me, when I was probably more focused on New Age, I felt like I definitely get moments of peace, but it wasn't everlasting, because then the next month, based on, if it was astrology, it depends on where the stars, where the moon was, then it was something different. And so it was this, for me, it was a lot of ebb and flow, and the truth felt to me like peace when I just knew that it was rooted and it wasn't changing. So I know my identity now in Christ because it doesn't change.
Yeah.
That felt, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe it because I don't know a lot about those other practices to comment on them.
Yeah. And do you see light language on social media?
A little bit.
About it?
A little bit, but because my algorithm now is programmed the other way, I don't see any of that.
You probably don't see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you feel free to share it. Yeah.
You know of
yes,
it.
Yes,
of course.
yes.
Cool. And I'm just curious to know, do you see that as light frequency or of a darker frequency?
I would need to know more about it to comment on that. I will say I do believe anything outside of God is there to create confusion and to move people away from God. Because God breathed, he created the world. He spoke the world into existence. So I think anything outside of him can create a lot of confusion for people to move them away from God. But I can't speak directly to it because I don't know about it.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I'm just curious. I'm I just like to know these things of your experience as well. And then also I guess I can't really speak into this too because I don't know much of tongues because I know that's a thing in Christianity as well, is speaking in tongues. And I'm would there be a difference in speaking in tongues versus light languaging depending on how it comes through the body? So do you experience have you ever had any physical experiences of the presence of God and that
I can
frequency?
Speak in tongues.
And you can speak in tongues.
Yeah, so it's the baptism of the Holy Spirit that allows you to speak in tongues. They call it the heavenly language. And when I first turned to God, I found it so odd. I'm why are people talking like that? But it's so beautiful to listen to, and I couldn't understand it. The more and more I've understood it, and when I was baptized with the Holy Spirit, you couldn't deny it. You could not deny the experience visibly from people watching it, you just couldn't deny it. And that's when I realized the supernatural side, and I leant into the supernatural side, started studying the supernatural side of God and the miracles. In terms of, as I said, I'm not sure about light language, but for me, it's just so clear that there's one truth now for me, and that is God.
I feel like it's depending on where it's channeled from. Could it be just the same? If it's channeled from the higher frequency of God, like God's consciousness, could it be the same?
And there's just a different label on it, do you mean?
Yeah, different label. That's, yeah.
Yeah, I think then I would go, if that was the case, who's putting the different label on it and what are their intentions behind it? Because all glory should always go to God. So I'm why would someone change the name of it if the intention and the heart posture was pure and glory to God, the creator of the earth? That would be the only thing I'd go, oh, that's a bit dark because then it's self-glorification. Yeah. So that would be the only thing I would look at.
So I feel like in the spiritual community, you are the own God, you are the creator is a very common thread and belief. And I'm curious to know what's your unfiltered response to that?
Unfiltered. Don't sugarcoat it.
Don't sugarcoat it.
I would say it was the thing that gave me the most peace was when I realized I'm not my own God. Yeah. I've got someone to go to. I've got a book that tells me how to live my life. I don't have to rely on my own strength. I hand it. I just put it at his feet, even in business. Here, I surrendered this to you. You will show me a way. I have full faith, faith over fear, faith over fear.
Yeah.
A lot of these New Age practices, if you actually look at them and then you look at biblical, it's all come from the
same.
Bible. And there's no dispute about the Bible being real. That's been studied for 2,000 years. The transcripts have been proven real from people that are not at all even in Christianity. So it's when I look at all these New Age practices, I'm that comes from there. That comes from there. You can see it very clearly. I think anything that doesn't feel like peace, like clarity, is not from God. God is not the God of confusion at all. So whenever I'm confused and I'm having these thoughts in my mind, I know it's not from God.
Oh, I like that.
We're in the middle of building something at the moment, and the other day I could feel my mind because the enemy, if we're going to go there, the dark side will attack your mind. He attacks your thoughts. He's here to kill and destroy, and it attacks your mind, mental health, all these things. It's the spiral. And as soon as there's confusion, I stop. Not making a decision on that, because until there's peace, there might still be that excitement, nervousness, but it's this underlying, this is the right decision. I'm not relying on my own strength. I'm not my own God in this moment. It's okay, I know this is from God. The other thing I do, if I have to check something, I check it in the Bible. So, okay, I'm going to make this decision. What would the Bible say about that? Where's there a verse in the Bible that shows me that I am following the blueprint that God's put on my life?
How would you do that? Like, how do you find it? Would you read through it, or
Yeah,
is there
I know.
something
I know quite a lot about the Bible now because I've
Yeah.
been to Bible college, and so I
Yeah.
know a little bit. I don't know off by heart though. I don't know if anyone ever does, right? But I know sort of where to go. So Proverbs is the most powerful section of the Bible for me because it's literally like one or two sentences. They're like power quotes, like power of the tongues, and your mouth speaks what your heart is full of. Like there's these little power quotes in there or scriptures in there, and I just check everything off. The other thing as well, now having ChatGPT, I can even say what verse in the Bible would help me with this. I won't ever listen to that for the Bible. I will then go pick up my physical
You'll
Bible,
find it
but that has
and
been a
read
big
it.
help. There's also
Yeah.
AI Bible apps.
Yeah.
So I'll go on, I've got one of those as well, and I'll just go on and say, this is what I'm feeling. Where
Yeah.
in the Bible does it say this? I always confirm God's word, not what someone tells me. I go, love that. Thank you. That's giving me something to think about. I'm going to go confirm it.
Gonna go confirm. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's so powerful too. I think anyone, whether it is Christianity or New Age, is having that external faith, something bigger than you.
Yeah.
Having that, like something bigger than you. As like for me personally, I believe the universe has my back and I'm guided. Like I'm so divinely guided. I'm so divinely looked after. I'm so divinely protected. Everything that is being thrown my way is actually to continue to steer me in the right direction.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Just something you said, and I don't want to forget again. You said that you believe the universe has your back. Who do you believe created the universe?
I believe the universe created itself. We created it.
So you believe we were here before the universe?
I believe that
we're going to go so deep here.
So
we came to speak about business, but here we are.
But here we are.
Because I'm curious as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the universe was created from another universe. Because it's like, who created God? Because I can throw that question right back at you. It's like, who created God?
God was in existence before human form.
So
he
was the
spoke
universe
the world
not in
into
existence
No,
before?
he spoke the world into existence. That's why when we talk about the power of the tongue, he literally spoke it. So when they say, careful what you speak because you create reality, that personal development saying,
Yeah.
that's where it comes from.
Yeah. And I make sense of that too. And also I feel like how you feel of like God created the universe and spoke it into existence. I feel that exact same to the extent of the universe was created from another universe. And it was just like, I constantly bring myself to, and if I'm being completely honest, I'm like, I actually don't fully know what I believe because I'm always looping in like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Yeah. Like I always come back to that. And
do you believe in the Bible?
Do I believe?
As in that the Bible's real, the stories of Jesus, like do you believe?
I believe,
that that's real, like that's history. Do you believe that?
I believe that, like, yes, I believe in the Bible, obviously. It's traversed through thousands of years.
Yeah.
I believe that Jesus was a living man who was on this earth.
Yeah.
Where I feel the disconnection is I guess probably the disciplines of and the constraint and also the power that was instilled in one man.
Because that is God. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel that my life is in co-creation and I co-create with the universe because I'm still the power, and without me, I wouldn't be able to create or move the world the way that I've created it. Yes, there's a part of me that believes, like, yes, I also believe in like soul blueprint and also like I was born onto this earth at this time because I had a reason in a soul blueprint, and I have a gift. I have a God-given gift, and I know that I'm here to I believe I'm here to fulfill my own prophecy. And also I also am responsible for that. So I do believe there's a path laid out in front of me, and also if I don't create with it, it won't be created.
Okay. I think, you know what, that's interesting because I think that's one thing, when people say faith over fear and trust that God has a plan for you. He does. We're all called to something. He knows our 10 steps ahead before we do. But that doesn't mean sit back and just be like, God's got it handled. Like, it's called faith plus works. And I think there's a big like, I still need to take the steps. And that's when I said to you, if there's confusion in those steps, I know that's not from God.
Yeah.
So when I'm going, is this truly like what we're launching our Women of Influence Society? And I know this is God has planted this in me. And he's like, you need to steward this. And anytime I make a decision, and if there's a lot of confusion or contraction, I'm like, this is the enemy attacking it. This is not from God. This is not the path I'm supposed to take. Like, there has to be peace. And that's why when you asked that question before about it's a lot of self-power, self-God, idolization, that with me was when the most peace came, was when I stopped idolizing me, because that's also a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mind the responsibility, but I'm like, no, I'm actually going to hand it to God, but I'm still going to take the steps because I'm called to take the steps.
Yeah.
You know, there's actually a scripture, I love it. And it's like, go to the hill, you sluggeth, and watch how the ants work. So it's like, don't be lazy and a slug. Go watch the ants because, you know, they work crazy.
Yeah.
So we're called to take steps in faith that God's got a path for us.
Yeah. And I feel that. I think another piece that creates disconnection for me is, and I felt this as well when I was in the church community, was it was overly giving away your power to God. That's where I was like, but you also need to be present, like, because it's not going to be created if you don't. So it's like, it's interesting because it's like similarly making the same statement is like, you still have that faith and still have that trust and still have that belief that there's a path laid for you. And also you still have to be the one implementing, taking the action, showing up. It's all the same pieces. Where I felt disconnection was almost when it's like completely given away, as in like giving away my power. I will do anything in the name of, and I just felt, for me, I felt that's actually disempowering.
Yeah, I can see how that language would be. And I would also say, I remember when I first started going, there was a lot of talk around idolization. So anything that outside of even yourself, money, everything, you're idolizing if you're not idolizing God. And especially money. We see people idolize money all the time. And I remember stepping back one day because I was really curious as well. And really, like I said, I won't talk about anything until I'm integrated in it. And I was, why then do we have to give so much glory to God? Like, why does he need all the idolization?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, I'm like,
God think
if
he
we're
is
not
to
meant
get
to be
idolized?
idolizing, like, you know, like, why does he need? Because, you know, pride comes before the fall. So whenever we step into pride, there's always a fall after it. And we know that. And I'm like, if we're not allowed pride, why has God got all this pride? Why do we have to, like, I really need to understand it. And when I got mentored on it at the time, but I also really thought about it myself. I thought, what does God stand for? Really, ultimately, stands for love. When we look at the commandments or the Bible, there's really only two in there that people contest or don't like. Everything else in there is treat your neighbor as you treat yourself. We all agree on that as a human race. Love one another.
Yeah.
We all agree on that. It's really the two things that people get stuck on is the tithing, giving money to the church, or sex before marriage. They're really the only two that people feel a bit crunchy. Everything else, we as a human race, we tend to all agree with it. And so I went, well, hang on. If I take away all idolization of everything else and I give all glory to God, the reason they say keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, keep your eyes fixed on God, is then I'm only playing into those, not rules, but those commandments, which makes me live with a really pure heart because I agree with them. I mean, I'm married, so it's easy for me to say that now. I understand that. But I agree with all of them. So I get that if we keep our eyes fixed on him, then we are living as pure humans in those. We're not living outside of it. And that's what he wants, the human race to rise in love. And that's how we do that. Whereas if we move our eyes everywhere else, that's when we're starting to focus on other things and pick up other behaviors and other heart postures.
You've mentioned heart postures a few times now, and I want to know, what is it?
Yeah.
Can you explain what it is?
Yeah. So the mouth speaks what the heart is full of, not what the mind is full of. So we speak what is deep in our heart. So, you know, and we've all seen this, like, you know, when people are speaking poorly about other people or in the coaching industry, when there's a lot of projection or anything like that that's happening, you can hold compassion towards someone else because you realize that their heart must be hurting. They must be in pain. And so your heart posture has to be of such pure, clean intention that you genuinely hold love and compassion for everyone around you. It doesn't mean that you have to spend time with everyone around you, or you don't have standards or boundaries. It just means that your heart posture is rooted in a very clean, open state and soft as well. And I think so many people just, I don't want to stereotype, but we see it, hardened hearts. Things have happened, their heart's closed off, they're hardened, the mouth starts to spit fire.
Yeah.
You know, and your heart posture is probably one of the most powerful parts of leadership.
Yeah. I really, really like that, how you've explained it. And I also feel really connected to it. So thank you for sharing with that.
You're welcome.
And I feel like a lot of my journey recently has been opening myself up, still in pain. Yeah. Still keeping my heart open while still navigating through heartbreak. So
yeah, because it's easy when we're hurt to shut off and our heart's closed down, you know, and then we're making decisions not from our purest intention, you know, and that's why staying open, but that's why, you know, this is where for me God comes into it, because I'd hand it to God and say, I'm hurting right now. Like, help me with this. Show me the next steps. Help me soften my heart.
Do you feel
worship
that
music
is potentially a spiritual bypass by giving away, like giving your hurt to God? Do you feel like it takes you out of the picture, or do you still feel like you can connect to it?
When I say giving it to him, it's not like this is now yours and I'm moving on, nothing happened. No, I'll explain it. So giving it to him is like, I'm not going to sit here and stew on it and behave poorly. I'm not even going to vent. I'm not going to carry on about it to people. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to process it based on how it needs to be processed. And, you know, everyone processes their trauma and emotions differently. I might even see a counselor if I need to. You know, I'm still going to be human and do the human steps.
Yeah.
However, God, I'm going to be praying on this, and I really need your support in this area. Help me soften my heart. And you know, when you said before, you get a lot of signs through other people and just different things. That's for me. So God speaks to me a lot through other people. And then all of a sudden the next day there'll be someone there and they'll say something and it will just, you know, and you're just like, yeah, I needed to hear that. Like just then when I said to you about heart posture, you needed to hear that. Yeah. You know, I don't believe in coincidence. So I'm like, you know, I agree. Even this whole conversation.
The whole conversation.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This whole conversation.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think like it's so true. Like everything is like given to you at the exact moment that you need to hear it. And even, you know, we had this scheduled in for last week. Yeah. And now I was sick last week and I've gone through the 3-day event and now I'm here and we're recording it here. I'm like, the timeline is completely different. What we spoke about on that conversation probably would have been completely different to where we are now. So
yeah, that's true, because you've gone through, you know, with being unwell and coming back out the other side as well. So
so I love, always coincidences are always synchronicities and delivered messages right on time. Yeah.
And to put even a bow on all of this, really what it comes down to for me, and it's actually one thing I do want to say is, you know, a lot of people turn to God when they're in a crisis or things aren't going well for them. And that's absolutely okay. Josh and I didn't. So if anything, when he took me to church for the first time, coming back to it, things were flying for us. So it was kind of the opposite. So I wasn't going in a place of seeking or needing. Yeah. And the church is for the people that also need it, you know, so it's for everyone. So I think as well, my view on it comes across a little bit different because I wasn't needing that at the time. In saying that, since then, I've lost my mum. I've had big things happen. If I didn't have God, I don't know how I'd be feeling. Yeah. The only thing I can say is since having him in my life, I've never felt more peace, ever. And when I go to stew on something, I go, faith. I've got faith. It's going to work out.
It's so beautiful. It just brings such presence into how you move through the world. Yeah. That's
intentionality cool. Almost.
Yeah. I love that. There's one last thing that I wanted to touch on because we spoke about it before is one of your methods that is silent power.
Yes.
Silent power.
Silent power, yes.
Yes. And I just, like I said to you beforehand, I was reading it, I was like, this is so interesting that this is one of her signature methods. And recently at my event on the weekend, after being sick on the day 3 of my event, I rocked up in the morning and I had no voice. So I had to facilitate myself and learn how to lead a room of 30 women without speaking. And it was such a big journey for me. And I had my mentor at the time, I had my mentor literally speaking to me and sending me voice messages being like, this is your initiation. This is perfect. It's divinely orchestrated, because I was a mess. I was crying and I was just a hot mess in the morning, being like, how am I going to do this? I felt so defeated and so down. And she was like, Candy, this is quite literally happening for you. You're learning to speak and lead without saying anything. She's like, you want to lead big rooms, you want to lead movements internationally, you need to learn how to speak through your presence.
Yes.
And so it was a massive initiation and journey for me. And I just look at it now and laugh, and I'm like, nice lesson there. And I also just wanted to ask you too, like, what does silent power mean to you, and how do you facilitate and teach women to hold that presence?
So silent power comes down to, yes, your presence. It comes down to your heart posture. There's a lot of work on I teach a method where that your heart's like a house, and what layer of the house are you currently in? Because that's going to come out through your tonality, through your body language. I teach a lot on body language, so I've studied body language to quite a deep degree. So I watch people's body language and I can see on how they command a room, because, and you would probably know these stats, but almost 80% of what we do, if not more, is through our body language. So people are judging you from the minute you walk in before you even open your mouth. And you can see that by the way someone holds themselves, their heart posture when they speak. So what is their intention why they speak, how are they using their words, their tonality, if they want to command attention, how to shift their tonality to command that attention. So it's really about understanding what is your intention of going into that. Where are you currently at personally? Has to always start with you before you can project outwards. And the biggest thing is, how do you want others to experience you? So it's a question people don't ask themselves. What does your presence feel like for other people? And for me, I've divided mine because I'm a mum of 2 daughters. I'm a wife and I'm a business owner. But if I speak to the wife part of it, the one thing I decided was I want my husband to experience me like sunshine, because I couldn't say that he always has. We build businesses together. I couldn't say he always has. So if I want him to experience me like sunshine, how do I show up? What are the standards? What is my body language? What's my tonality towards him? In business, I want to be the light on the hill. I want to shine light into the darkness. And that doesn't mean the fluffy stuff. It's also shining light on the conversations people don't want to have. You know, what does that look like? How do I hold myself in that conversation? How does my heart make others feel? And the reason it's powerful is, yes, I'm thinking about how others want to experience me. But if I want them to experience a feeling, I have to experience that feeling first.
Yes.
So it's one of probably the most powerful methods I could teach women, because then it doesn't matter what you say. People aren't listening to what you say. They're watching what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, however you make them feel. And that's why you had to lead a room with hardly being able to speak, but just with your presence and your heart. People feel you before they hear you, and people can feel you.
Yeah.
Even in this conversation that we've had today, because we're talking about new age versus spirituality, we need a lot more time than what we've had to actually go into it. So we're trying to keep it quite high level, but because our hearts are both open to each other, we're being curious together. Whereas you can imagine if that wasn't the case, that could be a defensive conversation for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the women that I look up to, that is such a big piece in who I choose to follow, in the sense of like, how do you lead yourself? Like, how do you choose to lead, and how do you hold yourself as well? And I think definitely what you've said around the posture, it is like body language is so important. And I love that you can read body language too, because it's so, I feel like, yes, it's definitely so important. And also I feel it's such a superpower.
It is, but it's so nuanced. And I get so I've just had a program called The Voice of Influence, which leads into the Woman of Influence Society. And I'm so intentional when I teach it, because like, for example, if I sat here like this in this podcast interview, instantly people go, oh, she's like closed off. Or and I'm like, yeah, maybe I might have been, but I might also be nervous. I might be cold. So you need to know someone's baseline. So you need to very quickly be able to pick up on their baseline before being able to make it that assumption. So you are very open, and you have been. If you were, and you've been like this the whole time, if I was talking about something in the spirituality that you were uncomfortable with, you would close off, and then I would pick up on that instantly, because you've got a baseline. But you can't just make judgments of people. Otherwise you're walking around judging people.
That's true.
You know, you need to know someone. It's nuanced, but it is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
Very powerful, especially with your husband.
You're like,
Yeah. He'll say something and
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
No.
that's not what you mean at all. What do you mean? I'm like, well, this, and this.
That's so good. What about eye patterns? Have you learned how to read eye patterns?
Yeah, not to the big degree. I had a woman inside one of my masterminds and she was ex-military. And so she'd really studied that. I was so interested in it. I just haven't. I can tell a little bit of where you look.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking to the right, I can see you trying to fetch for information versus looking to again, nuanced
Basics.
though.
Yeah.
But yes, I can very much pick up on the very basics, but she was detailed. It was.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Pretty amazing, really.
It is. It's phenomenal. Yeah. It's something that I learned when I was in the NLP, when I did NLP and did all my certificates around that. And I didn't even know it was a thing. And one of the facilitators in the room was like just incredible at just knowing every minor detail, and just blows my mind between eye patterns and then also body language as well. Like there's so many things that you can say without saying anything.
Yeah.
And as a leader, that's so important to be aware of that and have understanding and knowledge, and also understanding in the sense of like how am I actually showing up from someone. If someone was to look at me and read me without listening, what would I say? Yeah. And I think that's so important as someone, as a woman of influence who is creating a movement, is people read you all the time. Yeah. People read you all the time. And how can you be in that energetic state of actually not even speaking, but speaking? I think that's really important too in business, is what do you say? What are you saying without opening your mouth? Yeah.
It's presence. It comes down to presence. What does your presence feel like? And the only way your presence feels good to someone else is if your intentionality and your heart posture is good. Yeah. And I'm not saying you couldn't be going through something. I'm not saying you can't have pain or be, there's a tribulation that you're dealing with. It's life and it's business and there's always something, right? Yeah. But it's what's your intention of being in that space with that person?
One thing that I want to ask is, what do you feel people are faking online right now, especially in the online coaching business space? What do you feel people are faking online, and how do we faking? Yeah. Okay. And how do we spot it?
I don't know that I would say what they're faking online. I think a lot of people wear a mask when they show up. A lot of people haven't learned how to speak from a pure intention, from even just on camera, which is something I'm very passionate about teaching people, because that's how you connect with people outside of AI. Yeah.
And outside of ChatGPT scripting your reels.
This is it, right? Yeah. So get on and speak and learn the method. I think, how would we spot it? Again, okay, here, I'll tell you. So there are things, and I know there's definitely been things where I've even had people that I've had to pull up for integrity things around money wins and all that stuff in the past. That probably still exists. I don't really see a lot of that anymore. But again, I'm not focused just on that coaching industry anymore inside my algorithm. I would say we all have that intuition. If it doesn't feel right, it's likely not right. So if there is something that you're like, don't judge it, don't project your own crap onto it. But I would say, if there's something for me that doesn't feel clean or pure, then it's probably not clean and pure. Yeah. But I'm not going to say, you can feel when someone's wearing a mask and they're showing up and they're trying to put it on. I don't persecute those people though, because you know what? They're trying and they're showing up, and they'll eventually find a way to feel more authentic. But I'm not persecuting anyone who's giving it a go at all, because we all started somewhere. And, I can even look back, and I said to you when I first started, and I had all my little 15-second stories. I was probably so authentic that it was literally like walking the dog, and I'd be like, and so authentic. But then I noticed over time, as I got more polished, it wasn't faking it or a mask, but it was definitely a polished voice and a polished, just because I was doing it so often. Then I realized, and so I flipped it back the other way. Yeah. So I really just think that if you don't feel right in that person's energy, it's probably just not right for you. It might not be right for not everyone, but for you. Yeah, that's what I would say. I don't see much faking it. I don't know. What do you see as people faking it now? Like, how are people faking it? What is faking?
What is
in a personal brand? Is there such a thing? If it's your brand, is there any faking? Because you get to decide the rules.
That's a very valid question. Totally. Yeah. And I think a lot of what you said, I very much agree with. And I think, like, money wins is a big thing that a lot of people mention in the sense of like faking it. And it's also like, and how do you tell that it is fake or it is legit? And I think it comes back down to that intuition. And same thing with the masks of like, it's social media. Even if you are so authentic in who you are, that is still 30 seconds of who you are in an entire day that people are experiencing from you. So no matter how authentic you can be, that's still just a slither of who you are.
Yeah.
And that is still essentially a piece of a mask. So it's hard, like, how deep do you go with this? Because how many, like, you want to see all of me? Like, it's impossible.
Get ready.
Yeah, it's like it's impossible to really showcase that online without literally knowing someone in person.
I agree.
So I think they're probably the two most common things is obviously financial wins and then also the masks too. Yeah. And how people are portraying themselves online. Is it genuine or is it just how they want to be perceived? And is it strategic? Is that the personal brand that they're creating? You know, like, is it business related as well? So it is a deep question and we can go into so many layers of it. Yeah.
I would also ask why, I'm not asking you this, but if you're bothered by this, someone's listening and they're bothered by it, why are you so bothered? Focus so much on your own lane, your own brand, that it doesn't affect you. Yeah. That it just doesn't matter because you can get wound up in those things. Oh, yeah. Especially when you know, I've had people that I'm like, I know factually because you've told me this and now I'm saying that. And you're like, you know, especially if you're someone who holds integrity as a high standard. Yes. But then I'm like, why are you even focused on that? That's not your lane. Focus on what you're building. Yeah. Shut it out.
Do you feel like having such a big presence online as well has concerned you in how you're showing up personally versus how you're showing up on social media?
No, I don't think about it. Yeah. No. And I think as well, and you see this on my social media, I don't show a lot of my life anymore. I used to show everything and I don't. I've got so many different projects going on that it'd be impossible to show and keep people up. And also I'm a mum. I've got children, I don't like, sometimes I'm being in mum mode and I don't want to be filming them and, so I think I am who I am in both, but I do also believe we all have voice. We do have a voice signature. And so I'm in my catalyst archetype right now because that's my dominant archetype. But then I might be doing a reel when I'm actually hitting people in their heart center. So I am going to drop into my nurturer. So it's not that I'm being inauthentic. It's that I want people to deeply feel this. I'm in a nurturer because it's something that might be so heart-centered that it would be silly to be like, you know. So we adjust. So it can seem like that when, like you said, it's a snippet on social media. So how can we show all sides of ourselves? But I don't have what you see there, and I mean, you can tell, I'm here now. What you see there and here is the same. Even you can tell because I've been in your podcast before. So I just think that,
Yeah, cool. Oh my God, I feel like we could just keep going into so many different wormholes.
I think we've created a lot of curiosity for people today.
I love it, which is the intention. So thank you for sharing.
You're so welcome.
And being open and sharing your experience and your perspectives and your magic. So
thank you.
I'm so grateful for having you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. All right, beautiful souls. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.